Check one, check two, check two. Check one, check one. Check two, check two. Why would I say it like that? What are you doing, mate? We got an episode to record. Alright, well, I might cut to something else for the actual sound of it, but welcome to the 4th episode of the new season of the Decompression Chamber. I'm your host, and I have a very great guest today. What's your name?
My name is Jamal. I was going to say a funny name, but I couldn't think of literally anything funny to say.
I literally watched you blank on the quote, and it was a beautiful moment. Anyway, so we both get opening quotes today. So my opening quote is going to be from the show BoJack Horseman. And the quote goes, I mean, am I just doomed to be the person that I am? What's your quote?
My quote is from a friend of mine from Africa. You might know him. His name is Moto. He says, I like them big. I like them chunky.
Alright, roll the goddamn intro then. Roll the goddamn intro.
Come on. Yeah. Come on.
Wanted to meet and my steamer's broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at a turn of your words. Wanted to meet and my steamer's broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul.
See, I brought it back.
You did bring it back.
Yeah, okay.
You did bring it back. No, I appreciate that. I think one of the things that I like about quotes is that oftentimes you can get a lot of meaning out of something that might not ordinarily seem like it has that much meaning.
You know, maybe I'm saying that I like my situation's big and my prosperity to be chunky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of shine a light to the difference of our selection of quotes. I mean, maybe there's something to say there. Maybe there isn't.
Yours is a fucking animated horse, man. It's not. You can't get that high and mighty about it.
I'm not getting high and mighty. I mean, I may be thinking it in my head, but I didn't think I was portraying it that much.
I can feel it.
Alright, okay. Well, in any case, just for context for why we're at a campfire in the middle of a forest in the dark, cold night. It's not even that cold, actually.
It's really warm. It's like upsettingly warm, I'd describe it as.
We've had a really nice start to September, which is a very strange thing for me to say. Normally I hate September as a month. But, yeah.
Month of my birth, safe.
Alright, sorry. But that's just the way I feel, you know?
Yeah.
Oftentimes,
No, I hate it too. I think it's a bad month.
Oftentimes for me, September feels like, I'm out of summer, it's getting darker again, the nice weather's going away, and I'm back to school.
Yeah, it's the school thing mainly for me. It's so shit that it's going like this. And the way every single time, especially in uni,
Yeah.
classes always start on the 20th.
Mm.
My birthday's the 21st.
Yeah, that sucks big time.
Never fun for me. Never fun.
I mean, hey, at least you were born and are able to have birthdays, but it does suck, because, well, I mean, speaking as somebody where, like, my 18th birthday was the day before a maths exam, having a birthday coincide at a bad time is not great.
Yeah, it feels like God hates you just a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, it's weird because, I don't know, for me, always when I was a kid, birthday felt like such a big deal. It's like, the presents, the bloody blah, the party. It's just like, it felt like a momentous occasion.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, now for me, I'm just kind of like, it is another day. And yet, when that day gets a bit of misfortune, I'm like, why?
It still feels, it's weird, it still feels shit, even though, like, we've convinced ourselves, since, like, 17, I remember, I've been like, I don't fucking care about my birthday.
And yet we do.
Yeah, you touch me on my birthday, I will lose my shit. Like, I will be so unreasonable.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I just feel like it's kind of, it's a ritual, isn't it? It's an idea of the new year, the getting older, and like I feel like each birthday I'm just kind of like another birthday.
Time passing, imminent death.
Yeah, imminent death, we say at like 20 years old. I'm sure there's many people who find some irony in that.
Hey, we're quarter of the way there, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I can live. This is like a sixth of the way, and I live in a 120 year and then I have like a retirement as an android.
No, actually, that's fair enough. I wanna take out my pension while I'm in the Matrix, if I can. That would be ideal.
Nice.
I wanna be in that cafe eating steak for eternity.
Why would you want that? The Matrix feels so bland to me.
Because it can make whatever you want, can't it?
Yeah, only if you're like Neo and the cool guys. Like, I feel like if I was in the Matrix, I'd just be like some wage slave, just like working behind a desk.
Yeah, true. But that's where they all start. You know, that's the birth of Neo was the wage slave. Tom Anderson.
Right, I guess I don't trust myself to break out of the Matrix as is, right?
True, yeah. If they offered me the pill and it was like, if they offered me red and blue, and it was like you can choose whichever one you want, come out of here or stay. Yeah, I don't think I have the bravery to leave.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is I feel like a lot of the time growing up, I would always position myself as the protagonist or the hero in a film. And growing up, I kind of realised I'm just that guy that things happen to in the background.
Yeah. I remember reading a book that I found super interesting. It was like, you know, like young adult novels and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that shit where it was like, these guys are going to save the world and there's like 6 of them and but the book wasn't about them at all.
No.
It was about these like 3 peripheral people to them and their lives were just occurring. And they knew what was happening. They were like, I fucking hate those guys. They're like, just because they're the chosen ones, they think that they're the main characters or some shit. And it's like, bro, I have my shift at Dairy Queen. I have shit to do.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I just guess, because everybody's met in their life somebody where, you know, they think everything revolves around them. And you're just like, all right, how about you take it down about 14 notches, you know? How about you think about other people for a sec?
Yeah, I had someone say it to me.
Really?
When I was in the lift. Yeah, it was really weird. I was like with my flatmates, and this guy was like... I can't even remember what we were just like, oh yeah, life is a TV show. And he was like, yeah, and we're like the side characters. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he was like, well, because you're the main characters.
Oh my god.
I was like,
oh my god.
I didn't know whether to take it as like, do you think so lowly of yourself that you're the side characters, or do you think I'm the coolest guy you've ever met?
I think probably a bit of both, but like, I do find it sad when like people just find like life that boring and that just like, well, I have nothing to offer, so that must mean I'm relegated to the sidelines, you know?
But you could always become the main character, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Where does the story start? That's the question everybody's got to ask themselves.
Facts,
you know what I'm saying?
facts. The story could be starting like yesterday, it could be now.
What do they call that shit? Where it's like the story starts at the end, and then you get to go back and review all of your shit and be like, oh fuck, I was the main character the whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably happens to a lot of people.
Well, actually,
Medias res?
oh, I wish I knew Latin, but it's a dead ass language.
Someone tell me.
I mean, the thing I know is that the guy who runs my course at uni, oftentimes he tells people like that they should just have started their script where they ended it, because the end is actually the only interesting part.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a lesson for life in general, just kind of like, even if all of what you've done is pointless, what if you just woke up today and made it worth something, made it mean something, you know?
Yeah, decided to suddenly just put some importance on something.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to my dad about that today, even just the idea of like, there's so much stuff in my life where I've got to stop saying I have a plan to do X thing and just fucking do the thing.
Facts. Now that is me 100%. Like I've got ideas for things I could do, things I'm working on, and yet when it comes to the opportunity to just do something, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes the scary part is like once you start it, then it's like, okay, now it's real, and I've really got to put effort into it, and there's a possibility that I might fail, and that's like, you know, that's why it's, I think, maybe scary to start.
Yeah, I mean, the running theme of the decompression chamber is, you know, for me, how much that fear of failure and like the feelings of inadequacy that come before it motivate me to do, or not motivate me, but make me do nothing, and make me just convince myself that not doing anything is worth it. But hey, today we fucking, you know, trekked across most of the city.
Maybe that's what we should talk about. Motivators.
Motivators, okay, I like that. Well, I mean, this is something interesting for me, I guess, because I've said it to you before, but I get a lot of external validation in my life. I feel like what actually motivates me is normally just shit I'm passionate about, and that sounds basic as fuck, but it's just like shit that actually interests me, you know?
No, I definitely, it's the most healthy type of thing to have in your life, isn't it? People saying like, oh, that's great, and then you're like, yeah, good, now I can continue with that, knowing that it's being supported by things.
Yeah, and like, well, obviously you always need people to support you in the surroundings, but like, you're never going to get anything done unless you have that inner fire, you know, that forward fire or whatever.
Because I feel like I definitely have a lot of people around me who support me, like, you know, my mom, my dad, my grandma, like, all very much like, I know if I ask them for something realistically, they're going to try and help me with it. Yeah. But that isn't like, I find it quite hard to motivate myself through that lens. And the best thing sometimes is like pinpointing that little bit of like self-hate, and you take that and you make it fucking huge, and you're like, I'm gonna fixate on that for a little bit, and we'll make something really fucking useful out of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, where it's like, oftentimes, you know, for me, something that's motivated me is the feeling like I'm not doing enough. Like I need to be doing more. I need to be like I need to push myself more. And until that point, I'm not doing enough. But something that I was speaking to about with a friend recently is how there's a difference between doing enough and being enough.
How does one even be enough? It's a very like deep question. It feels.
I'm not. Maybe you don't necessarily be enough. I think you just have to feel like you're enough to some extent. Like just I think a lot of times for me, I've dealt with feelings of like inadequacy and like I'm not enough just in terms of who I am or what I do. When in reality, we are all just fucking weird animals that roam the earth trying to figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like the reason that I got properly back into rapping, I remember, was because I saw this guy who was making music, and I really fucking hated him. Like I we knew each other, and like I know him on a personal level, and I just with all of my guts, I was like, I want you to fucking die.
Nice.
And just I saw it, and I was like, I know I could do this so much better.
There you go.
And it had always been like a hobby and something I'd wanted to do, and suddenly I was full of all this like fire and venom. I was like, well, it's just got to happen now. I've got to show this person that I'm better than them.
Well, there you go. And I guess it's a weird thing as well, because a lot of the time, like, it's kind of like you're supposed to like, I've been taught oftentimes, not taught, but just like experienced, you got to squash those feelings down, you got to push them away, you got to avoid it. When in reality, if you can channel the negative emotion into something positive, you're not just like working through it, but you're actually getting something good out of it.
Exactly. And now I'm on the other side of it, and I kind of feel like I don't feel bad for the guy. I still 100% think he's a prick. But like at a certain level, I feel it's like that accomplishment, right? Because it's that level of knowing, like, I've done it. I'm better than you now. I've proved that. And now I feel bad for you, kinda. Because there's like a weird empathetic bit in my head where I'm like, oh, that's kind of like how I was. Like just a minute ago in that position of like, oh, I'm kind of shit at all this stuff. And then I got better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like, that's the thing, is that I'm sure as well on the flip side of that, there's somebody who thinks that about you.
Yeah, definitely. I often think about that. I think I'd be quite pleased if I learned someone really hated me.
I mean, I've always wanted a nemesis. I can't lie. I feel like part of me has wanted a nemesis just to have that little bit of that, like, rivalry in that.
All of my nemesis is unrequited, but I think that's because I learned that from
coming to cinemas near you. The next love triangle, like
it's in that weird kind of middle sense where it's like it's not unrequited because they haven't. It's unrequited because I haven't done anything.
Right.
That's why. It's like, yeah, I fucking hate you. You don't hate me because I haven't done anything. I'm not that sort of person.
Yeah, well, hating someone from afar may be just as bad as loving someone from afar. So
they're very similar emotions.
Yeah, it's true.
The amount of times I have gotten the two confused, bro, don't even get me started.
Well, I mean, I guess the one that I guess would lean closest for me was like the conflict I had with my siblings when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things where oftentimes a lot of passion can be directed, and when you look back, you're like, hold up, there was different motivation to that, to what I expected.
Yeah, it's something I remember I said it to my mum once, because we'd always have just like arguments over absolutely nothing. And I was just like, you understand, if I didn't love you, we wouldn't have this conversation. I'd just leave. I wouldn't be willing to have the argument.
Yeah, no, I feel that, and it's one of those things as well where it's like, there's certain things where you're so invested and you want to make so many sacrifices for that, it makes you just feel stronger about it naturally.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so beautiful the way like people like play into each other's lives and like motivate each other both through that lens of like, I hate you and I want to be better than you, and I love you and I want to be like you. Yeah,
that's a big one for me, and I guess it's one of those things as well where hopefully you get a bit more of understanding of that from within as well. It's like you can understand the parts that you hate about yourself, but you have to nurture yourself and love yourself and treat yourself lovingly in order to kind of overcome those things.
Yeah, definitely. Like self-love, I think, is one of those things that everyone struggles in. Everyone struggles with de facto, especially because like in a lot of ways it's like societal conditioning.
We do
live
in a society.
A lot fucking deeper than it is.
No, well, it is deep.
But just like the fact that it's like, okay, well, ego is bad, and we all say that, and that's kind of part of our culture, this idea that it's like it is bad to think well of yourself.
Yeah, well, it's bad to think too well of yourself, and that's a subjective notion.
Yeah.
I think, as well, from what I've experienced, a lot of people, because they feel not great about themselves, when they see somebody who does feel alright about themselves,
It makes people really angry, doesn't it?
well, more than anything, I think insecure and jealous. Just like, I wish I was in that position.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely say that a lot of people that I hated when I was younger, that rage came from a place of like, it's not because you've actually done anything, it's because I'm angry that I don't have those traits,
Big time.
and I want something like that. Like, just it's not even like big things, it would just be things like, oh man, you're able to just have a conversation with anyone, and I find that maddeningly, it's so vexing. Like, you're pissing me off just by chatting.
No, all you can do is appreciate what you have and hope that one day you might turn towards the better. I hate to cut this off, but like, we've been going for like 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's been really good though.
It's been nice.
I'm going to sign off with a final message of take care of yourself, be nurturing, care about who you are, but care about those around you.
And I'd like everyone to just remember the words of Sir Mix-a-Lot going into the future. You know, like, just keep that in your heart. Because that's the truth, man.
Yeah, no,
That's the
it is.
truth.
I mean, yeah. Thank you very much. Also, watch DIY and listen to DIY. And Jamal's got a piece of work coming up, so thanks for being on
See
this.
where the camera
Peace
is.
never know what's
That's
about to
really
recover. My
interesting.
zen getting rolled at the turn of your words. Run at the meat and my steamer is broke. For the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to recover. My zen getting rolled at the turn of your words.
Witches in my head, wishing that we could waste well. Whisk up the eggplant pie, and even salad dragon. Whole country can't rest on a wing since then. Never